Happy 2026, y'all. Last year was 365 days worth of craziness happening in the entertainment industry.
Oh, you know it. That's so true. And it appears our buddy David Ellison may have tried to bite off a little bit more than he could chew. Not only did the deal go through to buy Paramount, yes, you know, Skydown's Paramount now, but he's also trying to buy Warner Brothers as well. But he's been smacked away by the Warner Brothers Discovery Board multiple times. Yes, 9 times he has tried now, you guys. 9 times. And it looks like, though, here's the thing. Warner Brothers Discovery says they want Netflix, but they might have stated recently what it would take for Paramount to say yes. Of course, no matter who does eventually win this bidding war, it still has to get government approval. So it might not even go through. We don't know, but we're going to see.
Yeah, it's definitely been the story of the fourth quarter heading into the first quarter of 2026, that's for sure. And 2025 was supposed to be the rebound year for the box office, but it ended up being just another mid-tenure.
Yeah.
Maybe 2026 could be it?
Maybe so. I've got a prediction about that. We're going to have a little fun talking about that. But maybe television and YouTube will continue to dominate the audiences. We have seen where a major award show is announced they were going to be on YouTube, y'all. YouTube. What?
It's crazy. It's crazy. That's what this episode is. Some crazy predictions for you.
Yes.
Today on our show, we're going to be diving into our recap, of course, of last year's 2025 predictions. But then we have a whole brand new set for 2026. So let's get crazy, my friends. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Did y'all see that? What?
Let's just throw Scream 6 in there for like,
It was good.
Movie. It was really good. The best of the franchise, in my opinion, since the first one.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Welcome back to ITCAF Podcast, first episode of 2026. Of course, you know your host with the most, myself, J. Logan Austin, a.k.a. J-Lo Fantastic, and of course, the one and only Mouth, a.k.a. Dustin M. Bergman.
What's up? So excited to kick off year 9. What? Year 9 of this bad boy. I can't even believe that, man.
It is weird. It is weird. You can definitely see the evolution and the growth between both of us. I mean, not only has our on-air personalities grown, but I mean, I have grown a little bit older. You still look the same, but it's okay. And we're trying to navigate how we're going through this thing we call life, especially diving into the entertainment industry.
I'm going to take it that I look the same. That means I don't look older, so I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, you still look like you're 9 years younger than what you are right now. That's for sure. That's for sure. But now let's get into the business side of things. Before teasing the rest of the show or going into it, please be sure to leave a rating on this podcast. Comment below and tell us what you actually think about ITCAF Podcast. Because as I'm sure you're aware, leaving a rating on the podcast helps more people who enjoy entertainment news find inside the crazy ant farm. Plus, we also love lending the helping hand to up-and-comers trying to break into the entertainment industry. So that's why you got to like, comment, share with your grandma, with your aunt, with the people that you just met on the subway. Please be sure to tell them about ITCAF Podcast, the best entertainment podcast in the podcasting world. Man, oh man. And also stay up to date with everything we have going on film-wise, podcast-wise, and of course merchandise-wise on our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can find anything and everything going on here at Crazy Ant Media. We do have some new merchandise, as you see right now. Super excited about those. So check those out and get a little crazy with us. Be sure to visit the website every once in a while because we have promotional dates going on to where you can see if you can get things a little bit cheaper, because we know prices are crazy, y'all, so might as well get a deal where you can. That's for sure. But we're diving into our 2025 predictions first, right? Yeah.
To look back, see how we did. Look, I think we did okay. We got a lot of it right, and some of it right, but just a little different, right? Like we were right, but it was a little different than what we thought. So this is exciting, man. I like, because, you know, we're pretty good at this, you guys. And so I'm excited to look back how we did and then give you what we think is going to happen this year, because this year's going to be like a roller coaster for sure. How you want to do this? You want to start at number 5, and just do it like we do our top 5s? Let's start at number 5 and build up to what we thought was the biggest thing going to happen in last year.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. And I mean, both of our number fives were basically the same thing,
Sure.
which was Warner Brothers Sell slash Begins, and yours was David Zaslav will spin off Warner Brothers Pictures as a standalone company, which he wanted to do, and it will buy Lionsgate. So we got 50% of that right. But yeah, man, I mean, we knew this was going to happen.
Oh
Come on
yeah,
now.
yeah.
I mean, freaking Zaslav was a basket case from first to the jump. But we do know that it's going to be weird to see what's going to happen with this thing, and it's very sad to see, honestly.
It absolutely is. And look, I'm gonna be honest. This one, I don't have it on my list for this coming year. It may still be what happens. I mean, it might not clear regulations, and he might have to just spin it up. Remember, they had that in place. That's what they were intending to do. Warner Brothers Pictures and then Discovery, whatever the hell they were going to call that other company. That's what they were planning to do before, the bid came along. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's been interesting, man, to see how they're navigating this entire process because, yeah, it's kind of been a shit show the entire time. And like we've talked about many, many times on the show, their stock prices throughout the years have been rough since he's come on board and captained the ship. So it's been very weird, man, very weird.
Very.
And then number 4 for me for my predictions last year was Lionsgate sells. And it was kind of the second half of your number 5 prediction. And, honestly, Lionsgate had a pretty decent year last year. I mean, they had very top tier, I would say, middle of the road films. I mean, we're talking about like Greenland 2, the Michael movie is coming out next year. They have Hunger Games coming out next year. The Housemaid with Sydney Sweeney actually did pretty decent over this Christmas break. Now You See Me, Now You Don't actually did pretty decent. So Lionsgate is still trying to stick around to be their own independent entity and hands off for a while. Okay, hands off. They're still rocking and rolling.
Yeah, we sort of got this right. They did sell off Stars and separate into their own company. So kinda, we both kind of thought they would be picked up by somebody, but they are their own separate company and did sell off Stars. So yay to us. We got that one pretty much right.
I feel like all of ours are just like, they're partially right.
They're partially
we got fractions of like our predictions. So, and I mean, hey, it just shows you that we're still got our head to the ground, seeing everything that's happening.
That's right.
But at the same time, the entertainment industry is continuing to change for better or for worse, as some would like to see it.
Yeah, I agreed. Now, my number 4, I think I got this one completely right. More A-list creators will become exclusive to certain studios. We saw that. We saw Universal sign Nolan. We saw Paramount sign damn near everybody under the... They were just like, boom, we got these movies. Boom, we got this. Boom. So I think that we saw a ton of that this past year in 2025 where studios were just, for whatever reason, pretty much any creator that was working with Warner Brothers bailed and signed exclusively with other studios because of Zaslav. Honestly, they just didn't like what he was doing. We saw some bail from Netflix saying, we don't like the theatrical thing you got going on there. But then Netflix did sign a couple also. So, but overall, I think I got this one pretty right. We saw, especially after the mergers, a bunch of creators signing exclusively to long-term contracts with these studios. So, boom.
Exactly. Trying to continue moving forward and have some more stability in this thing we call Hollywood, because it can be a little daunting sometimes, and people don't know where they're ever going to land. So yeah, especially for those big name creators like the Duffer Brothers right now after Stranger Things, even though they still have projects going on at Netflix like the Stranger Things animated show, and they have the documentary coming out and a couple of other shows at Netflix, they are signing a deal with Paramount to obviously release films in theaters. That's the main reason why they signed that deal. Number 3 for me was the movie theater experience. So what I was really referring to was more like lobby experiences, but I got this right in the sense of we've seen over this past year how the evolution of the theatrical experience has changed when it comes to concert films. Concert films really made a huge resurgence, especially with like obviously Taylor Swift. She has been like the biggest draw when it comes to these event style theatrical releases.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see more of that in this upcoming year. And I kind of guess that kind of gives a little bit of away one of my
Yeah.
next predictions. But I'm sorry. But yeah, I would say like a fraction. Again, a fraction.
Well, I think it's combined with mine. My number 3 was theatrical windows will continue to decrease. And they did. They dropped down a little bit more. You guys, I'm sure you saw all of last year. You basically had 2 weekends to see a movie, and then it was on a streamer at the same time it was in the theater. And you only really got the 2 weekends if it was a big blockbuster tentpole film. If it was a regular film, you basically, if you blinked, you missed it. It was on a streamer, which, that's just crazy to me. But I like what you said. I think you kind of got yours right, too, with the theater experience. I would say it this way. We saw more of those event-type blockbuster movies where people would dress up in costumes and go, like Barbie and Oppenheimer. They continued that trend in 2025 where kids would dress up, Minecraft, they would sing along to the songs and the stuff. So they did kind of make it an event experience to go to the theater. So I think you got that more than a percentage right. I think you pretty much got it exactly right. You did kind of see that. So, but good for us. Both number 3s. Good.
Yeah, but our number 2s though, are not where it's at. Nah.
No.
My number 2 was the biggest box office in the last decade, because before going into 2025, everybody was like, survive till 25, and it's going to be huge. But no, it really wasn't. July was huge. The summer box office was great. It was awesome to see that. But all around, we only had a 1% uptick from 2024 in 2025. But 2026 is looking promising. There's a lot of fun films coming out in 2026. Super excited to do our box office draft next week. And man, oh man, doing the research on that one, it was very difficult to try to narrow down and figure out which ones
I still haven't.
Yeah,
I'm in my draft
luck.
room still trying to erase my whiteboard, and I don't even know yet, man.
I have alternates for each pick. So that's where I'm at. But yeah, biggest box office of the last decade, maybe in 2026. Definitely not in 2025.
No. Okay, my number 2, to be fair, I said Paramount Plus would be shut down. The only reason that didn't happen is because Ellison likes Paramount Plus. He likes television. He didn't want to get rid of CBS. He didn't want to get rid of Paramount Plus. He sees a future for that. And of course, as we know, David and Skydance bought Paramount. So, got that one wrong because David said, "No, I kind of like Paramount Plus. We're gonna keep it." I think though, if that hadn't happened, there just wasn't money to sustain Paramount Plus. But Ellison clearly, in case you didn't know, the Ellisons have a little bit of money, so they were able to, they're okay with it, still trying to find its ground as far as profitability goes. But wrong is wrong. I got it wrong.
Exactly. And we are crazy enough to admit that. Okay? We're crazy enough to admit we're wrong. But man, oh man. My number 1 pick, it was the biggest thing coming out at the end of 2024 going into 2025. And it's still a very big topic of conversation in 2025 with the release of the documentary series that we watched over holiday break. Such a timely thing. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about more big names coming out of the Diddy trial. We definitely saw a lot of names come out at the Diddy trial. We definitely saw some more lawsuits and accusations come out against notable people. Some lawsuits that actually got dropped in some cases because of some stuff that was settled out of court. So I definitely got that one right. Definitely some shady stuff still going on in the entertainment industry. There is a lot of things comparing Diddy to like a lower scheme Epstein, in my opinion. It's kind of scary, and it's scary that we give these people that much power. So yeah, we'll continue moving forward and tracking that, because even TMZ still tracks Diddy's daily habits while he's in jail, which is crazy. But yeah, that one's absolutely wild, especially after watching the documentary series. Have lost so much respect and so much admiration for him, because he used to be somebody that a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of people used to idolize, because he was on top of the world. He was a billionaire, he was in Forbes list, and after seeing all of this stuff come out and then being convicted, it's awful to see.
Yeah, and you know he's pulling a little political trick right now, I think, because you can't tell. Somewhere, somehow, somebody involved with Diddy has paid this former best friend of Will Smith, I think. It's like, hey, forget me. Look over here. Will Smith's an awful human being.
Yeah.
He's getting railed by everybody, including his wife. And I was like, did you see that one? This guy is now claiming she puts the strap on and goes to town on Will and other people. And I'm like, what? But this just kind of came out of nowhere, like all this stuff. And I'm like, is this a ploy to be like diversion? Like, don't look here, look over here. Because, you know, that's what you do, right? If you want people to forget about you and stop talking about you, you throw it somewhere else. And
well, especially when Will's been trying so hard these last couple of years to get his career back to where it was. And like, oh my gosh,
it's
man,
like,
that's a crazy situation.
Apparently this guy's got video, though, and wants to, like, in the lawsuit is willing to show the court. And I'm like,
oh wow.
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't know. That's for another day, guys. My number one for last year, I didn't get right or wrong. I said that Dana Walden would get announced as Bob Iger's successor. That was, in my opinion, and a lot of people, going to happen, but it was delayed, you guys. Remember, they were about to make an announcement last year, and then they had the shareholder Peltz war. And they had to, like, delay it. One of the arguments that Peltz was trying to make against Iger was that he didn't have a proper succession plan in place, and that's why he wanted to boot him. And so, basically, this decision got pushed to this year because of the shareholder battle with Peltz. As we know, Iger won that battle. Peltz is nowhere to be found or heard from anymore, and, you know, that little tiny bit didn't work out, but and Dana Walden is still there, and that's all I'm going to say on that, because I may or may not have a prediction on that for this year. So I'm going to take that one as neither a win or a loss. We don't know, because it was rumored that it was going to be her and that it was going to be announced, and then thanks to Peltz, nothing was announced. So I don't know. What have I gotten that one right? What have I gotten that one wrong? We'll never know.
I know, it is such an interesting thing too, because that happened at the very beginning, first and second quarter of last year. So it's like, why would that delay them? But at the same time, they had a lot of stuff going on. They had like they sued OpenAI, won that battle, but then made a deal with AI. And like, it was such a weird thing. So yeah, I think they're still trying to figure everything out. And I mean, they had a decent amount of box office bombs that really don't get talked about because they had some decent amount of box office highs. So I mean, you know, it's a very interesting thing. But yeah, that is our predictions for 2025. You know, I would say we're batting about at least 600.
Oh, without doubt.
We're way more than half. So very proud of that. Very excited to see that we still are rocking and rolling as far as that. But now it is time for our predictions for 2026.
Yes.
And man, oh man, this is kind of just, for me anyway, seeing what happened in 2025, watching the trends, seeing like the popular news stories and how the theatrical experiences are being played in different parts of the country. That's kind of how I made my list. I definitely think that it's going to be an interesting year. That's for sure. And that's when it comes to my first prediction, my fifth prediction. We're doing our top five that way. Studios will make more deals for concert films, especially for theatrical releases. I mean, we saw it with Taylor Swift multiple times, specifically with AMC, but then going into different theaters as well. But now we're seeing it with Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish and James Cameron directed a concert film together, guys. What? That's weird. But I'm going to see more deals like that coming out of studios and or theaters. Maybe the artists completely skip the studios and go straight to the theaters like Taylor Swift did. Like a Sabrina Carpenter could definitely do that because she's following in Taylor Swift's footsteps. So that is my prediction. Studios will make more deals for concert films, especially for theatrical releases, or the theaters specifically will do that.
And this is why you can tell we sometimes share a brain. My number 5 plays right along with that. My number 5 is that creators will produce and own their content and distribute directly to fans, bypassing the studios. We did see that with Taylor Swift. She made a deal with AMC all on her own. She and didn't go through a studio at all. And I agree with your number 5 wholeheartedly, because it's kind of like what I just said with mine. They will own their own content, produce it themselves, and then make deals with the theaters. I'm also saying, though, that not just concert films, I'm talking about, we've seen now, remember, where they have this new deal where, I forgot what they're called, but they're where you're shooting films upright on your phone, made specifically for Reels and like TikTok. And it's feature-length films in 40-second spurts. And they're being produced and distributed by creators by themselves on these platforms. And now it's gotten so big and so common that SAG had to create contracts for it. It's like, oh no, we're getting real talent doing these films. We're getting A-list people doing these 40-second snippet films on Reels and TikTok. They literally microdramas. There you go, microdramas. I think we're going to continue to see a lot more of that. It makes sense, because you don't know the certainty of the studios because of mergers and what's going to happen there. Maybe you don't want to work with certain studio heads, and this is the best way to do it. And because of, well, this is a little bit more of my prediction, and we'll get into it, but because of the uncertainty of the future of theaters, theater chains will be more than happy to make deals without studios with creators, because they're going to need content. So yeah, that's I agree with you. I think we're going to see a lot more of these type deals being made with theaters.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. Like, that whole experience, I feel like, is going to drastically change within the next 5 years. So yeah, we'll definitely talk about that more. Number 4 for me, I think seeing this past year, especially with the release of so many animated children's films coming out in 2025 and then now leading into 2026, I think the box office will see a whole new life in China. China has kind of boycotted a lot of American films recently, and I think that they're going to dabble a little bit more with children's animation, and they're going to get back into it. We have like Toy Story 5, a new Minions movie, a couple of other ones coming out next year that I think are going to do really well overseas. And I think we're going to start to build that relationship again as an entertainment industry and as a country to hopefully get more money in overseas markets. I mean, last year, Jurassic World Rebirth made more than 50% of its money overseas than it did domestically. So it's situations like that. It's got to have wide stream appeal. Like that Spielberg movie, Disclosure Day, I think that has the potential to do bonker numbers overseas and do lukewarm numbers here. Maybe if like the social media trends jump on it and it goes somewhere, I think it'll be even out. But I don't know, man. I think that one might have more legs overseas. So we'll see what the box office does in China.
That's interesting. I would agree with you, but I think it's going to heavily rely on whether or not the studios continue to appease China by giving them edited versions of the film. Remember, a lot of the films that China finally agreed to show over there, the studios had to cut out certain things that China had said absolutely not. So it'll be interesting when all these mergers finish, if we ever get to that point, if they will continue to appease China with the edited versions.
I think if there's money to be made, they'll keep doing it.
You're not wrong, because that's what it's all about lately. Speaking of money to be earned that isn't happening, my number 4 is, I believe that at some point this year, a major theater chain will declare bankruptcy and shut down. And that's because I think there's a handful of the smaller ones, Cinemark and the Grand, which is owned by, I forget the company that took over the Grand now. Santico. These guys aren't the AMCs. They aren't the Regals. They aren't the big ones. Alamo Drafthouse is another small one, for example, that almost had that happen already. I don't think these guys will be able to survive the continued shrinking of the theatrical windows. They need films to stay for extended periods of time. They just don't have the money to funnel in to keep the doors open if the windows keep shrinking. So I'm going to say it. I think a major theater chain will definitely declare bankruptcy and shut down this coming year. I don't think one of them survives.
Yeah, which is terrifying. Super sad to
Without
see, especially
doubt.
down here on the coast where we don't have an AMC. Like, I think Cinemark will be okay, but that, like, for me as a consumer, having to drive all the way to Gulfport, even though that's my favorite theater, like, it would still, like, suck.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah, as any consumer would say. That's for sure. That's for sure. Number 3 for me, it will be interesting because this is a big year for both of these superhero franchises. I mean, we've seen the beginnings of DC starting to become more trendy. James Gunn has completely revamped and brought more interest to the DC cinematic universe. And Marvel, it's on a lukewarm stretch, but we have some heavy hitters coming in 2026 with Avengers Doomsday and the new Spider-Man movie. So, but my prediction is because it's new and not lukewarm, I think DC will become more trendy than Marvel. I don't know if it will necessarily make more money than Marvel. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think that people are going to talk about Clayface and Superman or Supergirl more than they'll talk about Spider-Man and Avengers Doomsday. That's just my opinion. Just because, like, I don't know, man. I just feel like they keep going back to the water well with Marvel. And I get Avengers Doomsday and then Avengers Secret War is supposed to completely reboot the entire franchise. But I honestly think it's DC's turn to be the number one superhero franchise, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with you on that, but my question, I think it's a really risky pick for you in the sense that if the Netflix deal goes through with Warner Brothers, Netflix is very chummy with Zack Snyder. And Zack Snyder, for the last 6 months, it seems like, has been nonstop posting his pictures of Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck
super
Batman.
Annoying
and like
about that shit.
He
Super
really
annoying.
is. But is that a hint? Is that him saying that if Netflix gets this bad boy, they're my company and they love me and James Gunn's out and forget what he's trying to reboot?
Not, man. Like,
I hope not either. I'm with you. I hope not either because I think what Gunn is building is something special and it could be awesome. But James Gunn is also movies need to be seen in theaters and he made that clear. And as we know, Ted Sarandos doesn't think so. And Zack Snyder already said, he's fine with just making films for Netflix. So I don't know, man. I like the boldness of the pick. I think it's going to come down to what the hell happens with Warner Brothers and Netflix. So yeah, good. I like it. My number 3, I don't want to happen, but I think that it's going to happen and it's going to cause some problems. AI will fully integrate into production, all aspects of it, pre-production, post-production, development, everything. It'll be in writers' rooms, it'll be in the editing bays, it'll be on set, and it's going to just fully integrate in. We've already kind of seen that. You said we just talked about it, where Disney made a deal with an AI company. We're looking at agencies, talent agencies, literally figuring out how to sign AI actors. It's like, I think we're going to continue to see it. It's unstoppable. It's happening, guys. It's something inevitable that we're just going to have to deal with. The back half of this prediction is we're going to go into strike again. One if not all of the unions will strike again. If you guys don't know, their contracts are up again. SAG-AFTRA is in February. The Writers Guild is in March. And then the Directors Guild is in May. And they have all pretty much expressed they want no part of AI happening. Remember when the contracts were being negotiated the last time and we went into strike, that was one of the issues. And they resolved everything else and decided to kick the AI issue down the curb until the next contract talks, which are now. And so I think this is going to be contentious. I still think actors don't want to sign off on it. I don't think writers want to sign off on it. It's going to cost jobs in the writers' rooms. Directors don't seem to want any part of it. And now we know we've got an old school filmmaker, director as the head of the DGA in Nolan. He still uses practical effects. I mean, so he literally created a bomb for Oppenheimer. This guy don't want AI. So I think it's going to happen. I think we're going to see the full integration in, but I think there's going to be a fight to keep it from not happening. And I think we may see a strike by one or all of the unions. And I hope I'm wrong because, man, we don't want to strike. But it is what it is, man.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to strike. But to play devil's advocate a little bit, got to see both sides of coins. He has the Odyssey coming out this year.
He does.
I don't think he wants a strike happening when
Absolutely
he's trying to promote
not.
that film. Like, especially coming off his Oscar wins, like major Oscar wins for Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
so that would be crazy. I think him specifically, even though he is such an advocate, I think he will do whatever it takes to make sure that there is a deal done and that there is not a strike.
So
at least on the directors and actors side,
I
that
like
actors
that.
can promote that movie. But I mean, I still think the writers will potentially strike.
That's what I was going to say. We could put a little asterisk next to that prediction, because if there is a strike, the one most likely to strike, I think, is the Writers Guild, because they're the one in most danger, to be honest. They're talking about eliminating writers' rooms and literally having one writer do a treatment and then feed it to AI and let it produce 10, 15 scripts, for a full season of shows. So if there will be a union that will strike, it's most likely the Writers Guild. You're right. I agree. Yeah, so we'll see.
It's such a crazy time.
It is, man.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. Well, capitalizing on the theatrical experience in 2025, I know a lot of my picks are about the theatrical experience,
That's
but I
good.
mean, it's true. It's true. Theatrical experiences are needed in society. But since we saw so much success from this in 2025, I think we will only continue to see success with it in 2026. And I'm talking about more anime films seeing success in theaters. I haven't looked at the actual breakdown of what the theatrical calendar is in 2026, but freaking K-pop Demon Hunters, a Netflix film that was Sony. But then you have like Chainsaw Man and a couple of different ones, Demon Slayer, that did absolutely amazing in theaters for anime flicks. Granted, they all came out when there's really nothing else opening against them and there's a lull season. So, but I mean, that's just capitalizing on what the calendar is. And I mean, isn't that what you're supposed to do as a theater? And then not only am I going to mention those, but the biggest box office draw of the year worldwide, Niza 2, which I mean, of course, let's be honest about it, made the majority of its money overseas in China, but it's still the highest grossing film of the year, which is kind of crazy. So I do think more anime films will see success in theaters in 2026.
I hope so. I hope you're right, man. I want a Battle of the Planets. I do. I keep vaguely remembering that they announced something that they would be working on one. But dude, as a kid, I loved Battle of the Planets, or G-Force that they called it at some point. Yeah. But oh my god, I love it.
Well, He-Man, Masters of the Universe. Let's put some more anime Transformer movies in there. There's other big name franchises. Obviously, Netflix with One Piece and all of these different anime, live action ones that they're doing, that they're seeing success. They could do movies like that and put those in theaters. Anime companies do that. They have their series that they do, but then they also have it to where they release a movie that ties into the series sometimes. So I feel like that could also happen a lot.
Absolutely. DC and Marvel have both released anime versions in the comics. They
Yeah.
could do anime versions of the films. I think
Yeah.
I think they
Agreed.
do really well. I don't disagree with that at all. Here's something I think is going to continue to not do very well this coming year, and that's Hollywood, specifically production in Hollywood. I think Hollywood is going to continue to lose production to both international locations and other states. International, we've seen all of Georgia just suffered big because they're all going over to London now, shooting in England. But I think we're going to see more of Australia, productions in Australia, more productions in Canada, more productions continuing to flow over to England. And then you're going to see other states benefiting from how Georgia did it. New Mexico is starting to ramp up. North Carolina is ramping up. Louisiana's getting back in the game. You're seeing Florida starting to get some production. I think Hollywood is in trouble. For whatever, Gavin Newsom tried to do these big tax pack, and it brought a little bit back, but not to balance off the majority that's left. And I think we're going to continue to see that trend in 2026. I think Hollywood is going to continue to struggle to maintain production in Hollywood. Especially when all these states are given tax incentives to build studios in the states. So the only reason you really shoot in Hollywood anymore is for the large sound stages and the lots. But if they're going to do that in other places, then why would you?
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, if you're a Joe Blow filmmaker who is just somebody who directs films or somebody who produces films like that are already IP or what have you, I think, yeah, you're not gonna care about that at all. But I mean, like the Michael Manns with Heat 2 coming up, obviously that was set in LA, so I'm sure they'll try to shoot in LA again. I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson shot, one battle after another in California, but those are the filmmakers who actually, obviously all filmmakers care because it is like this capital of the entertainment industry. But at the same time, like we've talked about this entire episode, it's all about money, and they're going to try to save as much money as they can. So if they have to go to all of these different places, New Jersey is another one. Netflix is building a studio. But yeah, London's the hot spot right now. So yeah, it's sad to see.
It is, and it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Like the studios are kind of doing it to themselves because the studios are all about profit and all about profitability. And yet they're making it so expensive to shoot there that they're forcing these filmmakers to go to other locations because crew is cheaper, locations are cheaper, equipment's cheaper. So they have a better shot of being profitable, which is what the studio wants. So they're basically stabbing themselves by making it so expensive to shoot in Hollywood. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me. So yeah, that's my prediction though. I think they're still going to struggle with it, and we'll see.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely wild. My number one pick, and it's very interesting because it's a little contradictory to what, has been happening and what they've been saying, but money doesn't lie. And like we've been talking about, money does not lie. Netflix experiments more with theatrical releases. I think this is the case due to K-pop Demon Hunters, and I don't know if it's 2026 or 2027, but IMAX and Greta Gerwig's Narnia. I think those two are going to be incentive enough to attempt to try to continue working with theaters to try to navigate that business because like we've talked about on the show before, Netflix is kind of at a stalemate to where they love to grow. They love to continue to build themselves up because they do want to be bigger than Disney. They want to basically take over the world. People always talk about freaking Disney taking over the world. No, it's Netflix, especially just in the entertainment space. But I do think that they will experiment more with the theatrical releases because if they do indeed, in fact, try to get Warner Brothers after regulatory approval and all of these different things, they're going to need to figure out that particular landscape. So I do think they're going to see more short windows from Netflix films opening. So yeah, I'm interested to see that because like I said, if it happens, they're going to need to have a plan in place on theatrical releases. So number one for me, Netflix experiments more with theatrical releases.
I agree with you. I think that they're not going to budge on the 17-day window. I just don't think they're going to budge on the. But they understand that if you want Oscar contention, it has to be theatrically released. That's why I think Sarandos is so, well, 17 days is enough. We put it in the theaters it needs to be in the markets it needs to be in, and it qualifies for the Oscars. And plus the anime films like K-pop, Demon Hunters, 17 days is enough for that to make a huge profit. So I do see.
I think it made like 28 million for the weekend,
right?
When it got released,
right. So like and then the cost to make those films, you make 28 million in the short window that it's given. That's a huge profit for them. So I agree with you. I think they'll experiment more with that. Like what are inexpensive movies to produce that can make a massive profit in 17 days. And we'll put those in the theater. And the other ones that we'll decide to put in there for 14, 15, 16 days will be our Oscar contenders so that we can qualify for the Oscar. Everything else they don't give a fuck about, I don't think. But I do agree with you. I think that they're going to try to play and go, okay, which ones do we run for 17 days? But we all know Sarandos ain't backing off that 17 days. So.
Well, I really wish they would with this freaking new Matt Damon and Ben Affleck movie that's coming out the rib. Like, I think that would do pretty decent in theaters.
So too.
But yeah.
I mean, he's adamant. So they're gonna live or die by Sarandos' theatrical window. In my opinion, they're either it's gonna work or it's not. My number one is to be continued from my last year one, because now it's officially been announced that they will make the announcement in the first quarter. So sometime between now and the end of March, they are making the Succession announcement. My number one is that Dana Walden will finally be announced as Bob Iger's successor and the first female CEO in the Walt Disney Company's history. I have no doubt that this is going to happen. There may be an asterisk next to it because there's talk that they want to follow the Netflix model and do a co-CEO, and they're talking about Josh Amaro, who runs the Parks division, as the co-CEO. I don't like it. I would rather just have one CEO be in charge and just but if you're going to do I think she runs the studios and the television and the production side of it. He continues to be CEO, but run the parks and sales and marketing and advertising division of it. I don't think it's a good idea. There's rumors. I don't think it's going to happen. My prediction is clearly what I said. I think it's going to be Dana Walden that gets named. But there's rumors that he might be the solo. That would be, in my opinion, and Logan, you and I have talked about it, that would be Bob Chapek 2.0 all over again. It wouldn't make sense. The only experience he has is the Parks division. Doesn't have experience running studios. He doesn't have experience dealing with television or streamers. That would be a disaster. No way Bob Iger or the board let that happen. That's why they extended this whole Succession thing to get it right this time. So I don't know why that rumor started or floated. I get the co-CEO if you want to keep him around and because he's doing a good job with the parks somewhat, but no way they don't put Dana in the spot. Creators want her, actors want, like everybody in the entertainment industry respects her and wants her, so it'd be a disaster if they don't pick her, in my opinion. So my number one, Dana Walden gets named the CEO of Disney.
Oh boy, man, oh man. I gotta say, I'm more confident about these picks this year than I was about the picks last year. And we did pretty good last year.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for all of this. To a nice little recap, Netflix experiments with more theatrical releases, more anime film success. DC becomes more trendy than Marvel. Box office, we'll see new life in China, and studios will make more deals for concert films, especially theatrical releases. And Dustin's, obviously, the Dana Walden gets named the successor from Bob Iger, or the asterisk co-CEOs. Hollywood will continue to lose productions to international locations, including other states. AI will fully integrate and force or force unions to strike, potentially WGA most informally, and then a major theater will change or will go bankrupt or shut down, and then creators will produce their own content and distribute to fans directly. So are we crazy? Are we crazy? I think we're pretty spot on.
I think so
we're
too,
pretty
man.
spot on. Super excited to see how this year is going to turn out. That's for sure. Well, now we're headed over to our top 5 segment, and this week it is top 5 movies of 2025.
Yes.
A lot of good ones, man. A lot of good ones, but I only gave one 5 out of 5 Letterboxd review the entire year. I actually gave 2, but one was too hastily because I was just so excited. But really, there's only one real one that got a 5 out of 5. But we'll get there. We'll get there. My number 5 actually goes to Thunderbolts. That's right, man. Marvel had kind of a lukewarm year last year, but I think a high point was Thunderbolts. I think, what we're able to do with these characters that we already know and love and bring them all together and are kind of like the ragtag team. It was fun, man. It was fun. I mean, you saw a lot of interaction on social media with it. You saw the new Avengers debut, I guess you could say. I'm just super excited to see where this team goes moving forward. Obviously, they're going to pop back up in Avengers Doomsday. Don't know the scope of what their roles are going to be in Avengers Doomsday, but I do think that they are the future of the MCU. Hopefully, we all know that it's going to be a clean slate here soon, so hopefully the Thunderbolts can stay in place with all of that. So yeah, number 5 for me, Thunderbolts.
Yeah, very interesting too. I think the only thing they did wrong with that movie is they failed with the marketing with the asterisk. It was, remember, it was Thunderbolts asterisk, and then because the name was supposed to shift to the New Avengers, and it did shift to the New Avengers, yet people still call it Thunderbolts, which is hilarious to me. It's like they needed to do a better job with that. It was hokey, but we get it. But it was, I don't know, they could have done better. But I agree with you. I love the movie. I thought it was really well done, in vein of Civil War. I just thought it was really good. My number 5 is a movie that nobody saw, which is really sad because it's a fantastic film with 2 phenomenal actors giving Oscar-worthy performances. My number 5 is A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. I don't understand. You had Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie, and this film is beautiful. It's a love story, but it's more a story about redemption. These 2 troubled souls who had made mistakes in their life and regretted it. And you guys might remember seeing the trailer where they're like on this like date. And they're going to these doors that are just randomly in the middle of nowhere, and they walk through these doors, and it brings them to that point in life that they deemed a mistake or something wrong, and it was the chance to fix it, to redeem themselves. It's a beautiful story, and it's so well told, and the acting, like I said, is just phenomenal. I cried several dozen times throughout this thing. It's just so moving, and who doesn't love a good story of redemption? We've all made mistakes in our life that we wish we could just walk through a crazy-looking red door and fix, but that's not how it works. And, it also, the ending of the film, and I don't want to give too much away, but it also is like, even 2 broken souls can find love. 2 non-perfect people who think there's nobody out there for them find each other. And if that's not, just inspiring and just, I don't know, man. And I wish more people would have seen this thing. So A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, my number 5.
Number 4 for me goes to 28 Years Later. I thought this was a great adaptation in this franchise that I had no idea really how good it was before watching, and funnily enough, I still haven't seen the first one, 28 Days Later. I saw 28 Weeks Later before seeing this one, and then going into this one, I was like, okay, I like it. But I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think he did a phenomenal job, a phenomenal performance, especially coming off of King. So, I mean, there really wasn't a lot to live up to after that. But I thought this was awesome, and it did well enough to where, obviously, there's going to be 28 Years Later Bone Temple coming out this year. Yeah. So Danny Boyle is on a high right now. He's continuing to resurface in the limelight of Hollywood. And I hope that continues to happen because he's a pretty good creative in my opinion. So I hope that we continue to see more of him in the next couple of years. So yeah, number 4 for me, 28 years later.
There you go. My number 4, staying in the vein of horror or suspense, Stephen King, the master of them all, The Long Walk. Another film, sadly, that I pretty much sat in the theater by myself to watch. This one just didn't hit, and I get it because it's very intense. It's very hard to watch, and I think the stark realization of this could be where we're headed in this country is terrifying. So, you typically go to the movies to escape, right? To get away from reality, and this film could very much be reality soon. So I get it why maybe it didn't, light up at the box office, but you should definitely watch it. If you can, this film, it's brilliantly told. The adaptation from book to screen is spot on. It's brilliantly acted. Oh my God, the phenomenal performances. You feel for everyone in this film. It's just gut-wrenching performances from the entire cast. It's shot beautifully. The tone in which they tell this story, the sequence of shots that they use, and these kids really walked these distances, like miles and miles. There was no bullshit. They weren't just walking in. They were literally doing these walks while they were shooting. So the authenticity and the realism of what was happening is just, you could feel it. You literally could. And so that's why I put it on my list. It's just a brilliantly done film with a really terrifying story that makes you think, which is one of the things Stephen King does really well. And like I said, this adaptation did really well. And both these kids, both the lead actors deserve Oscar nominations, in my opinion. They just knocked it out of the park. My number 4, The Long Walk, man.
Very nice, very nice. I like what they did with the influencers, all the TikTok people who they had and come and watch. They had treadmills instead of seats, and they had to walk along the entire time.
Brilliant.
That was awesome.
Yep.
Number 3 for both of us is the reimagining of the DC universe and why we have so much hope for James Gunn's DCU. And we're talking about Superman.
Yes.
Superman was the one that I hastily gave 5 out of 5 for, even though it's really a 4 out of 5. I gave it a 5 out of 5 because I've never really been much of a Superman fan. I've been wholeheartedly admitting that for so many years now. And I think that completely changed for me when this film came out because I loved freaking David Cornsweet's interpretation of Superman. I loved Lois Lane. I loved freaking what's his name who played Lex. And I think that this cast, they get it. I think they truly understand the embodiment of those characters. And that's why I'm so excited to see what the DC is going to change into, hopefully continuing to change into, depending on mergers and things like that. But Superman, it gave me new hope for the DC universe, which I've never really had before since, the whole Dark Knight franchise with Christopher Nolan and Christian Bale. So yes, super excited, and I can say that I'm a Superman fan now.
There you go. And my number 3, also Superman. I think not only did the actors understand the characters, right, as you said, and embody the characters, but it's because the director and the writer, James Gunn, also embodies and understands and knows the characters. He has a passion and a love for these characters, and they mean something to him. And anytime you get that, you're going to get it right. And he got it right. He brought it back to what makes Superman beautiful to begin with. It's the fact that he's a failed human like the rest of us. He might be this all-powerful alien from another planet, but in the end, he's just a human who makes mistakes and fails like everyone else and is just searching for acceptance and love and everything everybody else is. And David Cornsweet fought for, and this is why I really like him, is the trunks. man. There was discussion. Do we put the trunks? Do we not put the trunks? And he's like, hell yeah, we put the trunks because that's what Superman is. He wants to be this big, lovable, goofy guy that kids look at. And it's like, so that said to me, he does understand the character. He does get it. Superman's so often referred to as the big blue Boy Scout. Exactly. It's what so I agree with you. And what this one does that the original 78 Superman did not is get Lex Luthor right. Don't get me wrong. I say this all the time. I don't dislike Gene Hackman. I don't like Gene Hackman's performance as Lex Luthor. I just didn't like the version of Lex Luthor. Nicholas Hoult, this version is the version of Lex that I love the most. And he personified it. He nailed it. So and for me, that really set this film up to be a success. And their dynamic back and forth is just brilliant. So yeah, my number 3, I'm right there with you, Superman. And I'm excited to see Supergirl. And let's hope Netflix doesn't fuck it up. Let's hope that James Gunn stays and that they continue to do what they're doing. Because they're building something special, man.
Completely agree. Number 2 for me goes to Paul Thomas Anderson's and Leonardo DiCaprio's One Battle After Another. I really freaking enjoyed this film. I think I had this one at a 4.5 or something like that. But it was one of those that sat with me for a very long time. And it honestly brought me back to falling in love with movies again, because it reminded me so much of the first time I did fall in love with the cinematic art of storytelling.
Yeah.
And I think that's what was really portrayed with this story. It's so different than anything else that's been out there recently. Obviously, I would say at least 70% chance of winning Best Picture. It's definitely the front runner right now, in my opinion. And I do think that if more stories continuing to show themselves and present themselves like this, then Hollywood's going to be okay. But I do think that we just have to make these films shorter, y'all. Why are the films so damn long? I'm just saying, like, they don't have to be cinematic pieces of art and be 3 hours long. We can tell a damn good film in 2 hours. Like, like I'm just saying, 2.5 hours is stretching it. I get it. 3 hours, it's still a freaking good movie, but damn, y'all, like, come on. But yeah, anyway, One Battle After Another, one of my favorite films of the entire year. It's one, like I said, that sits with you. So many epic performances. Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Tiana Taylor, Leo, like, it's so great. So yeah, go see it on HBO Max. One Battle After Another.
That's right. Yeah, love it. Love it. My number 2 is Song Sung Blue. This one kind of came out of nowhere. They didn't really do a lot of marketing until right before it came out. 2 phenomenal performances, Oscar-worthy in my opinion, from 2 phenomenal actors, Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson, 2 of my all-time faves to begin with. This is a true story. I don't think a lot of people knew that. At first, everybody thought this was like a story about Neil Diamond, that Hugh Jackman was playing Neil Diamond. No. This is about Thunder and Lightning. They were a Neil Diamond cover band, and real life story. The tragedies and the things that this couple had to overcome is just unbelievable. And the way they tell this story, it's based off the documentary that was told about this couple. It's so brilliantly done. The reason I love this thing though is it's just, this movie is all heart. It's a love story from start to finish about these 2 people who absolutely adored each other and were the epitome of what love is supposed to be. Even through the struggles, even through the heartache. This film is about human nature and about just being human. And set to the backdrop of Neil Diamond songs, which just, hello, it's Neil Diamond. For me, how good this film in my theater, which is rare because you hear me, I normally go see these types of films by myself. I'm usually the only. My theater was literally packed, and They were singing the Neil Diamond songs. I mean, Sweet Caroline, they were belting it out loud, Sweet Caroline. And they were like, dun, dun, dun. And it was amazing. And then there was silence. Everybody in the theater was crying at moments where you're supposed to be crying. They felt it. It was the most, what you can't get at home. You can't get at home. And that's what Logan was talking about before. Theater experience. It was incredible. Song Sung Blue. It might be an Oscar-worthy contender, I think, at least for performances from Hugh and Kate, but the film should be too. Just, you can still go see it. Go see it. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Song Sung Blue.
That film should have been released more in the fall time and not the Christmas time, in my opinion. Like, I mean, the fall was garbage when it came to the box office, and I feel like those two stars would have brought some light to the box office. So, just my opinion.
I agree.
But number one for me, my only real 5 out of 5 for the entire year is J. Kelly. Netflix released it. It's going to be an Oscar contender without a doubt. Adam Sandler, George Clooney, Laura Dern, so many others. I think that I related so much to this film because the constant battle of being preoccupied with chasing the dream and missing out on life.
Yes.
But also not taking advantage of life and chasing the dream. The constant battle of trying to balance and making sure that I'm present when I'm doing stuff with the family, but also making sure I'm trying to put as enough effort as possible into making dreams come true. It's the constant grind of a creative. You hear any creative talk about their process and they have to sacrifice something.
Absolutely.
But you have to figure out that balance so that you can have the best of both worlds. That's why the phrase is there. The best of both worlds is having your dream, but also having your family and continuing to build your family and to grow into a family. Like, it's so many different things. I think the performances in this film were phenomenal. Billy Crudup, his two scenes that he has, like, steal it. I love the montage at the end where it's all of George Clooney's actual films. I think that's so cool. Don't know how they got the clearance and release for all of that shit, but whatever. But honestly, Adam Sandler and Laura Dern, they really make the film for me. Their relationship for the film, Adam Sandler's relationship for George Clooney's character, like, I really hope Adam Sandler wins Best Supporting. I don't know if he's going to, but that performance, like, we say it time and time again, especially after Uncut Gems and all of the different films that he's put out. He is such a phenomenal dramatic actor, and he deserves more recognition. That's why I was so happy to see him on that Hollywood Reporter roundtable conversation with all of those dramatic actors who are hoping for that Oscar run.
Right.
So that was really cool to see. But yeah, number one for me, Jay Kelly, just because of how much it hit home for me.
Well, and you know, the one thing that you didn't say that I agree with everything you just said about what it represents and what it is and how it goes through and how you connect with it and how I connect with it. The one thing that I also saw is imposter syndrome, which so many creatives also deal with. It's because he basically stole this life from Billy Crudup's character and then is dealing with, does he deserve it? Is it really something that he should have? And he goes back and forth about, damn right it is. I'm like this great. And then not. He's like, oh, I took it from him and it should have been his life. And do I even belong here? Kind of a thing. So imposter syndrome is a struggle in the industry. It's like, do I really deserve all this? Or you know, so it touched on so many things. Yeah, just brilliant film. Brilliant film. Good pick. My number one, also a brilliant film by a brilliant filmmaker and phenomenal actors and just team and everything that you can think. Sinners by Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. Ryan Coogler, in my opinion, is one of those guys who has figured out how to stay original, tell original stories, and still bank money for the studios. It's hard, y'all. If it's not intellectual property that's already been a hit, if it's a story nobody's heard of, like an original concept, original idea, it is rare But Ryan Coogler has figured it out. This guy is just pumping out incredible, original, groundbreaking content and making money. It's like, that's a brilliant mind. This thing hit on every level. It is a brilliant, in my opinion, a filmmaking masterclass. It is how you write a film. It is how you direct a film. It is how you shoot a film. It is how you cast a film. It is how you market a film. Everything about this film was right. It was brilliant. And to Warner Brothers' credit, not Zasloff, but Warner Brothers' credit, they took a risk on it. They're like, well, but it's Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, so okay. And then boom. So it's beautiful. I give this one 5 out of 5. And I think that we need more Ryan Cooglers in the industry. We need them. We need guys that are willing to take risk and tell stories that are original. And like, just, there's so many creatives out there and so many brilliant minds and so many brilliant storytellers like Ryan Coogler. So give them all a chance, studios. Give them all a chance, because there's so many more Ryan Cooglers out there. And he'll be the first one to tell you that. And he's inspiring. He's just phenomenal. And Michael B., I can't say enough about that either. So Sinners, y'all, it's the way to do it. My number one, man, Sinners.
Great pick, man. Great pick. I know. I think that film, I wish I could go back and watch for the first time again.
Yes.
That would be a good top 5. Just films that we could go back and watch for the first time again, because like it kind of, I watched it again at home, and I don't know if it wasn't the theatrical experience or like if it was watching at home, or I don't know if I, just because I already saw it, but it didn't give the same excitement. But I'm guessing it gave that excitement because it was the first time watching it, and I was watching it in a theater, and the crowd reaction and things like that. But it's definitely interesting.
I think it's the theater experience. Not so much the first time watching as it is the first time watching it with the crowd, because it's a collective. When everybody figures it out at the same time and you get that collective, what the fuck? Yeah, you can't get that at home when you're watching it again. You can't get that. You don't get the reactions, you know? And the one-liners in that film, my theater was just busting up. With Delroy Lindo, he stole the movie from me. And my audience was just like hanging on his every word, waiting for what he was going to say. You can't get that at home. And so I think it's the theater experience. And you're right. I wish you could recapture that every time you watch a great film, but sadly you cannot.
It's true, man. It's true. Well, we want to know, what is your favorite film or some of your favorite films from 2025? Please be sure to leave a comment down in the comments section and let us know. Did we miss something? Was there something else on your mind? Please, like I said, comment below in the YouTube comment section, on Threads, X, Twitter, whatever you call it, Instagram, TikTok, all the good things. Please, we love the fan interaction. That's for sure. Now, heading over to the box office recap, where my number 1 pick, well, I think it was actually my number 2 pick in my box office draft, Avatar Fire and Ash, is still rocking and rolling. It made $40 million last week.
It did.
Number 2 last week at the box office was Zootopia 2, which also made gangbuster money.
Yep.
$19 million, the biggest fumble from both of us in the box office draft, in our opinions. Number 3 was The Housemaid with $15 million. Gonna go see that tonight after this recording.
Yep.
Number 4 was Marty Supreme, the highest grossing A24 film ever now at the box office. Very exciting about that. And number 5 was Anaconda with $10 million.
Yeah.
So very cool. Very eclectic group right there. And you know what I'd love to see? Yes, there's a remake, and yes, there's 2 sequels. But The Housemaid and Marty Supreme, they're so different. They're so different than anything else. So I love to see that.
Yeah, I'm going to see The Housemaid tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, yeah.
New movies coming out this week are Primate. God, that looks awful.
Fucking stupid.
Greenland 2, Migration. Is this thing on with Will Arnett, directed by Bradley Cooper? Probably going to see that next weekend.
I'm seeing that one tonight after we're done with the show.
Dead Man's Wire and I Was a Stranger.
Yes.
And then movies you can still go see right here, right now, in select cinemas possibly near you. Song Sung Blue, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, The SpongeBob Movie, Search for SquarePants, Wicked for Good, and We Bury the Dead. So be sure to go out to your
Yes.
local Cineplexes this weekend and have a good time.
Yes.
And then, of course, heading over to the IMDb Pros Top Trending segment, where the top trending movie is Sydney Sweeney's The Housemaid. The top trending show, of course,
No
is
doubt.
Stranger Things. And the top trending star is Millie Bobby Brown. And boy, oh boy, can I just say, they're milking the hell out of that because they did not announce the freaking documentary until after the series finale.
Yeah.
Did you see these rumors about there's possibly another episode coming out, but then a whole bunch of people were like, no, it's not happening.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can't believe or not believe anything because I wouldn't be surprised if there's a hidden episode, that like it. I wouldn't be shocked. Put it that way.
It's so crazy, man. It really is. But anyway, y'all, thank you so much for getting crazy with us on episode 316.
Yes.
Welcome back, 2026. We're super excited to be back. Man, oh man, y'all know where you can follow us. We're on X, Threads, Instagram, TikTok, all the places at Crazy Ant Media, at ITCAFpodcast, at J. Logan Austin, and
At Crazy Ant CEO.
there it is. And of course, our mental health podcast as well at Everything's OKP on Instagram, just Instagram now. And be sure to subscribe to that channel as well on podcast platforms, and you can watch the videos on YouTube. We're going to have more episodes coming out here soon on that one as well.
Yes.
And then, as always, you guys can subscribe to the podcast on podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and all the other ones that you listen to. We're also on YouTube, obviously. If you like this episode, be sure to give us a like. If you want to share, be sure to give it a share, and subscribe to the channel for all the latest and greatest notifications coming out of Crazy Ant Media. And then, of course, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can learn a little bit of something about us. And then, of course, check out the new merchandise and all the fun things that we have going on here at Crazy Ant Media. But man, oh man, it was a great episode back. I'm super confident in our predictions, and I'm excited about this year.
Yeah, I am super pumped about this year as well. I think there's going to be, like I said at the top of the show, it's going to be a roller coaster in the entertainment industry this year. But who doesn't love roller coasters? It's going to be a fun ride. We're going to get through the highs and the lows and everything in between. And 2026 is going to rock, y'all. And we're going to be a part of that, man. We've got so much going on outside the podcast. Filmmaking, man. We're back to filmmaking, y'all. And we're going to knock some out, and we can't wait. Yeah, dude, it's going to be an exciting year. And yeah, I'm pumped. And yes, we're back. I love being back, man. I love it.
That's right. Next week is our box office draft, so stay tuned for that. Super excited. And then after that, we got some guests lined up.
Yes.
I know y'all missed that. We're super excited about that. But then, as always, we love the one, the only, Oprah!